Well, greetings friends, and a very warm welcome to my channel. Thank you for spending time with me as I share with you my journey, at least a taste of my journey into what started out to be live steam locomotives, miniature live steam locomotives. I'll show you where I actually started in the hobby. This is back when I was just after I'd married in the 60s and 70s. Here is an example of a locomotive that I had at the time. This was a USRA 482 heavy locomotive built by US Hobbies. It come out of Japan at the time. I sold this off since then on eBay, but it gives you an idea that I was already into something larger than the small. I was originally, as a child, a kid, I was into HO. Had some S gauge, even the Lionel. But then I changed and went into O scale. I loved the details, the fine details of O scale. But eventually I decided that I wanted to get into something larger because I didn't think O scale fit what I wanted. I'm not an actual modeler as far as having a layout. I respect that, and I appreciate that many do have layouts. I envy some. It's really good thing to have a layout. But I really didn't have the room to have a layout, but I knew that I could have a mantle somewhere in my home or my shop where I could have a really nice large mantle model with a lot of character to it, a lot of details, fine details, and something I built myself with my own hands from scratch in my own machine shop, not with CNC machines, but with conventional machines, and doing it from scratch, from the bottom up. I just felt like that was what I wanted to do personally. So to give you an idea of what size we're talking about, here's what I settled on. I call this easy scale. It's one prototype length of a locomotive equals 20 models if you lay them out end to end. 1 and 20, 1/20th size. In my particular case, I settled on 2.825 track gauge. And the actual dimensions that are used with this particular size, 1 and 20, works out really well in a machine shop. And it also works out really great for material sizes, off-the-shelf material sizes. So it became that 50 thousandths of an inch is equal to 1 inch in real. And so if you want to transfer feet, the actual feet of a prototype into the model, you take 1/6 times the feet in inches. So a 10-foot wide locomotive then becomes 6 inches wide in model. A 40-foot boxcar becomes 24 inches long. So you can see that it fits well within the parameters of normal off-the-shelf materials, which I really liked. And the 50 thousandths per inch is really great to take dimensions directly from prototype locomotive drawings and use them on a normal scale directly onto drawings for use in the shop. Technical drawings on the board, or to use as shop drawings to actually construct the different aspects of the models. So that's the size we're talking about. This particular model here, I started back in about 2015. I had the material on hand already, the leaded stock for the wheels, almost 5-inch size. And I had enough stock for the trailing wheels and leading wheels, but this is as far as I got on the project because I changed my mind about how I was going to build a locomotive. I decided I couldn't do live steam. I probably wouldn't have enough time for my lifetime to do it. But I wanted to change into something more like the photo I showed you, an 8 drive wheel engine. So I decided to switch. This was a little over 2 years ago, and these are just winter projects. These are projects I do in the winter. This is the locomotive chassis of the locomotive that I settled on. I decided I wanted to build a model based on Norfolk and Western's 080 switcher. They built a lot of them, had a lot of them built, and use a lot of them throughout their system. They were very popular at the time, the 080. And if I remember correctly, I think the 080 design was the last engine built in the United States for a mainline railroad, if I'm not mistaken. But I chose this, decided to go with this size, this style, and as you can tell, I'm a little bit of a rebel. I don't know that any railroad ever built a switcher with box pop drivers. But I wanted box pop, that's what I wanted to do with the larger wheels. I wanted to build a larger size model like a 482 or a 284 Berkshire type. But I couldn't afford the material. The material was just exorbitant priced at the material store. So I decided to just use what I had, and I had 3-inch material. So that's what fit in well with this locomotive. I did decide to switch entirely from live steam because that would take many more years that I don't believe, ahead of me. But I think I have enough time ahead of me to finish this as either a complete mantle model locomotive or power it with a motor from a windshield wiper out of a car in a junkyard. I think that can be done. I've looked into that a little bit, so I think I could do that. But this would only be for a mantle. I don't have room for a layout, but I do have room that I can put this on a mantle and have enough trackage so I can enjoy seeing it, the action going back and forth. I wanted to show you that this one does work really well already. You can see that the rods work well. There's very smooth action, well, except for me moving it, of course. But I'll zoom in here a little bit to show you some finer details on this locomotive because it's really interesting how it's not that hard to work a scale model up to something that is more like the prototype. I tried to carry forth the rod design as much as the prototype was. I tried to stay true to the types of fasteners, these large round nuts and hexagonal nuts holding the rods on. I tried to stay faithful with the brake hangers, the wheel sizes themselves, and the types of counterbalances and whatnot. And here's the main center rods. These are rods articulated, of course. There's three different rods put together here. That's the way they work in the prototype. But I wanted to show you also that I tried to be faithful in reproducing the articulation. This, if you just lift up on this opposite side of this spring, you can see that I've tried to carry it through the articulation, and this goes from one side of the frame to the other as well as along the length. So each wheel can be balanced to have the same amount of pressure on the rail regardless of the bumps in the rail. So that's what I did. I chose to try to be faithful in that. And so there's my 080 based on the Chicago Northwest, the Norfolk and Western design of a switcher, and this is my 442 Atlantic as I got into process. Now here I'll zero in on details of this box because this is quite interesting. I think you will appreciate what I did to try to stay faithful to the wheels and the wheel design, the spoke design, the design of the trailing truck journal boxes and the mountings for the journal boxes. I tried to stay true to the rod and nut that went through the journal box. And of course the lids are in process. They're already fitted just with a piece of rod to hold them in there. But you can see I tried to stay pretty true. I did not stay true to the frames because the frames on the original locomotive go all the way through. I felt for my model it's better to stay this way, so it broke up. This particular engine has steel frames cut on a milling machine. And then if you go back to this one, my 080, this is 7075 aluminum, aircraft aluminum frames, and but steel wheels, brass rods, brass hangers, and brakes. Not brakes, springs. Eventually I'll do the brakes and brake hangers also. But this is as far as I got with the project. I did want to share with you Just one thing here to show you the type of fixturing that I used. This is the fixture that I used to cut the box block design on the wheels. Other fixtures I used to arc the wheels, strike the arc for the counterbalances. Anyway, you can see there's a lot of detail. I'll zero in a little bit closer on these wheels so you can kind of see the finer detail that is necessary in creating these wheels as reasonably faithful as possible. Got the focus. Okay, there we go. You can kind of see what's going on there. I tried to stay true to the flange size as the prototype. And of course, as you can tell, the articulation, the springs, the spring hangers. Spring hangers had to be altered a little bit for a model because they're different than the prototype. It makes it easier to do it the way I did it. But I hope you can enjoy this brief video about my journey into live steam type locomotive chassis for, this is mantle model size. And if you're into railroading, if you're into locomotives, steam locomotives especially, I think you will enjoy this short brief video. In the future, I may produce more that will take you a little deeper into each project, show you more detail from a different angle, maybe show you some of the interior of the frame and the cross action of the articulation, that kind of thing. Maybe share with you some of the journey I had, a photo journey that I took of photos as I went through the process of machining these parts, all these individual parts from raw materials. I machined everything. There's no castings here. Everything is an actual machine part. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, please like it and share it if possible. Subscribe to the channel so that you can get updates when the time does come that I'm able to add more content. But I want to thank you very much for your visit. Appreciate your sharing it if that is possible for you to do. And please come back in due time, and please have a great day.